What's going on today, guys? So, on the last video I did about how people got rich, I did a video on how Tai Lopez got rich. And I had somebody drop me a comment and say, hey, how about you do a video on how Tim Ferriss got rich? And I thought that was a great idea, since he is kind of cut from the same cloth as a highly idolized entrepreneur type person. And I don't know, guys, I'm just going to go through the details that I found. Yes, this video is a little bit biased. Yes, my Tai Lopez video was also a little bit biased. So if you're looking for like strictly information and not my own opinion, maybe this isn't the video for you, but I am including some opinion in this video as well. And I have to say, the Tai Lopez video I did was well received. Most people left good comments and liked the video, but I did have a couple people leave some negative comments, and have at it, guys. I have thick skin, so I mean, if you don't like this video, drop me a comment. You guys have every right to let me know what you guys think, so don't feel that this video is for everyone to, agree with. It's just my own opinion, and I just wanted to state that before I got into it, because some people don't like people's opinions, they just want the facts. And if so, this may not be the video for you. But let's get right into it. So, Tim Ferriss is best known for his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. That was his first book that he wrote, and that's where most of his success came from, was that book. That's kind of where he got a name for himself. Nobody really knew who he was before that point. Many people consider Tim Ferriss to be a lifestyle guru. And like Tai Lopez, he has kind of a cult-like following where people just respect the guy so much he can do no wrong. Kind of similar to Tai Lopez. His podcast, The Tim Ferriss Show, is a very successful podcast. It is probably the most successful business podcast, and it has over 100 million downloads. So that's a very successful podcast. The book, The 4-Hour Workweek, shows you how to, and this is stuff I got right off of his website. This is what he claims to be able to do for you if you buy his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and read the book. This book will show you how to become a member of the exclusive NR, also known as the New Rich, as he calls it, and this will allow you to abandon the deferred living plan where you have to work until you retire and not enjoy your life in those years. He will also show you how to avoid sitting behind a desk at a job you hate until you retire in your 60s. He will also show you how to achieve the millionaire lifestyle without being a millionaire yourself. And most importantly, he's going to show you how to go from 14-hour days making $40,000 a year to a 4-hour work week making $40,000 a month. So that's pretty incredible, right? I mean, that's a lot to claim to be able to do in one book. So a lot of people have bought the book for that reason and read into the book. So this is basically the unofficial Tim Ferriss get-rich model based on how he ended up making the majority of his money. Number one, you work hard at what you are doing. At first, though, because after a while, you should be working 4 hours a week, according to Tim Ferriss. And then number two is you have to be in the right place at the right time. So there is some element to luck in how Tim Ferriss became so successful. Number three, you get kind of rich. So you had a pretty good idea, you made some money off of it, you're definitely not a millionaire, but you're kind of rich. You got a little bit of money kicking around. But this is where Tim made his money. And what he did is, steps 1 through 3 for him were selling unregulated drugs in the supplement industry. We're going to get into that in a little bit later because I'm going to do like a timeline of everything he's done. But basically what he was doing was selling unregulated drugs in the supplement industry that either helped you lose weight or helped you improve your cognitive ability. Number 4, you're going to leverage your small success to become even more successful. And how did you do that? Well, you write a book as the expert on your small success. So, for Tim, that was writing the book known as Drug Dealing for Fun and Profit. And if you've never heard of that book, that's because he changed the name to The 4-Hour Workweek. That is a true story. The original title for that book was Drug Dealing for Fun and Profit. Just so you guys know, I thought that was an interesting little fact. Number 6, you're going to market yourself and your book relentlessly to establish a name for yourself as this perceived expert. And number 7, you're going to get 10 times or 100 times more rich off your expertise than you did your initial idea itself. And that is exactly how Tim Ferriss made the majority of his money, is from the books he's written after his initial success, selling unregulated drugs in the supplement industry, as well as his podcast and the other books he wrote as well, which we're going to talk about all the books he's wrote so far in a second here. Alright, so now it's time for a true story of rags to riches. So I just want to warn you guys, you might want to grab a Kleenex because this one's a tearjerker. This is the epitome of rags to riches. I want to talk about Tim Ferriss's very humble upbringing, okay? So Tim grew up in East Hampton, New York, in Suffolk County, which is one of America's richest counties. I believe it is 25th in America as far as the wealthiest counties in America. Tim went to a boarding school in Concord, New Hampshire called St. Paul's, and then he graduated from Princeton University. What a struggle, man. I can't even imagine such a bad upbringing. You know, that's got to be rough. Anyways, you know, he's not one of these people that started from nothing. So a lot of people try to have this whole story about them where they say, oh, you know, a lot of people do have a legitimate story where they started from absolutely nothing. They started from the absolute bottom, lower class of society, and they struggled from the beginning. But Tim had a very humble upbringing. I mean, he had a very privileged upbringing, And it's not a problem that he does. The problem that I see is that he does not acknowledge the fact that his better than average upbringing had any reason for his success or helped him with his success in any way. He does not mention the fact that, okay, he had a privileged upbringing. Maybe that contributed to his ability to be able to start his own business. I'm sure he had better access to funding than most of us would if we tried to start our own business. But that's just all I got to say about that. I just wanted to mention that because it's worth mentioning. So here's the timeline of events for Tim Ferriss. In the year 2000, he graduated from Princeton and got a job in sales at a data storage company. 2001 is when he started his nutritional supplement company called Brain Quick, which sold supplements that increased your cognitive ability, and he also sold supplements that helped you lose weight. And this is the unregulated supplement industry where many claims cannot be verified. 2007 is when he wrote the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and he had to go, I believe it was the 26th publisher he approached who finally basically published that book for him. And he said after he made that publishing deal, he marketed that book ruthlessly. That became his main focus, was building an image for himself as well as this book. Then in 2010, he wrote the book called The 4-Hour Body, and that was published. And The 4-Hour Body is the uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming a superhuman. I'm not making this up. This is literally what he says about his book. How could anybody claim to cover all of those things in one book? I don't know. That's fantastic. I'll tell you what, sign me up. I'll buy 10 copies. That sounds great. And it's interesting too because, you know, based on his past, he's so qualified to give advice on weight loss as well as, you know, becoming a superhuman. So it's really interesting how credible he is based on his past. As you can see, all of the vast experience. I mean, I wrote this down here. I forgot to include this, but his degree is in, let me find it here. He got a degree in East Asian Studies. So there you go. There's his credibility right there. He's able to write books about weight loss because he studied East Asian Studies at Princeton. So there you go. There's his credibility right there. So don't worry. But then in 2012, that's when he wrote the book called The 4-Hour Chef. Now this book is going to show you how to cook like a pro, learn anything, and live the good life. So again, as you can see, his culinary background really shines with The 4-Hour Chef because he has so much experience in culinary. As you can see, you know, it just makes so much sense for him to write a book about cooking and then to write a book about having a good body, as well as writing a book about having a 4-hour work week and being a successful entrepreneur. And then the fact that he sells drugs that, you know, or he sold drugs that helped you become a smarter person and have better cognitive ability. He's really very focused on one thing and one path. And it's great, you know. And then so 2014 is when he started the podcast called The Tim Ferriss Show. 2016, he published a book called Tools of the Titans. And this is basically success tips from his podcast interviews. Now, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. This is a spoiler alert. But, you know, Tim Ferriss, he's a good friend of mine, as you can imagine. And he told me what his next book is going to be. It's coming out in 2018. It's called The 4-Hour Mechanic. And this book is going to show you how to fix any car in 4 hours, as well as survive without lungs and impress the Pope. So you guys are definitely going to want to check out that book when he releases it in 2018. So be on the lookout for that. That's my attempt at humor there, guys. I know I'm sure 90% of you realized that was a complete joke, that last one there. But I just want to throw that out there. That's not true. But that's pretty much, it seems like that's the way he is. He's just bouncing all over the board, and he's covered pretty much every gimmick topic that people have covered in the past. Anyways, I'm realizing this video is incredibly biased, and yeah, so let's just go over the bottom line here. Tim Ferriss does not acknowledge that his upper class upbringing gave him a distinct advantage in life that many of us do not have. Most entrepreneurs work 80 hours a week, not 4 hours a week. I'm not saying this in any way to brag at all, but personally I work a full-time job, 40 hours a week, plus if you count my travel time, I work like 45 hours a week, and then I spend probably 2 to 3 hours a day working on YouTube, and I spend most of the time on the weekends working on editing videos. So for me, if you combine my actual job plus my side job doing YouTube, I probably work, you know, somewhere around 15 hours during the week. I'm probably up there in the 70, 80 hour a week range. That's typical of most entrepreneurs, whether you're dedicated full-time to your side business or you're doing both things at once. So I don't know anybody who's successful who works 4 hours a week. I'm just throwing that out there. His book and all these other books he's written are clearly written for lazy people, because just starting it out with the 4 hours shows that, oh, this is going to take very little time. This is going to be easy to do. This is going to be a shortcut. And not everyone can write a book, because at the end of the day, someone has to read these books. And if every single person in the world became successful or became slightly rich, made a little bit of money, wrote a book about how they did it, and then tried to sell it to other people, there's not enough people to buy that book. So his method of success is not repeatable based on the way that he actually did things. And the last thing I'm going to say is success comes from hours of work each day, and there are no shortcuts that work for everyone. Just because they worked for Tim Ferriss doesn't mean they're going to work for you. And that's all I have to say about this video, guys. Like I said, this is largely opinionated, a lot of my opinions in here. But, you know, if you guys really support Tim Ferriss and you absolutely hate this video, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not saying that I'm trying to avoid people dropping mean comments. If you completely disagree with me, let's have a conversation about it. Drop me a comment below, and I have no problem with that. But I just kind of wanted to lay out the facts for you guys, and I did tie in my opinion a little bit. But that being said, if you guys have any other people you want me to cover in this style video about how they became successful or how they got rich, please drop me a comment below. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to be notified of future uploads, and I thank you guys for watching this video.